Hello and welcome to the big picture. The cow vigilantism by the Rakshaks or cow protectors has led to some serious situation in some parts of the country. While suspicions of eating or selling beef has resulted in some losing their lives and getting attacked, the cow vigilantes have now started attacking those who dispose of the cow carcasses. The gory flogging of the Dalits who were skinning a dead cow in Una, Gujarat last month has witnessed unprecedented reactions from the Dalits. The Dalit uprising in Gujarat and the anger and rage being expressed across the country has forced even the Prime Minister, who normally refrains from making political statements, to react. He reacted twice in 2 days last weekend, strongly expressing anger and wanting state governments to take action against Rakshaks, many of whom, he said, indulge in crime in the night and pose as cow protectors in the daytime. His emotional outpouring in Telangana yesterday, that if they have to shoot, they should shoot him and not his Dalit brothers, has evoked mixed reactions. We will discuss today what these strong statements of the Prime Minister means, whether it has come at the right time, and whether it will have the desired effect on those the message is aimed at. To discuss this, I have with me Professor Sukhdeo Thorat, Professor Emeritus at the JNU. On the phone line is Sanjay Paswan, National Executive Member of the BJP, Professor S.S. Jodhka, sociologist at the Center for the Study of Social Systems at the JNU, Kamal Farooqui, former Chairman, Delhi Minorities Commission, and Rajvir Sharma, a RSS thinker. Welcome to all of you. Mr. Paswan, are you there? Mr. Paswan? Okay. He doesn't seem to be connected. We'll go back to him. Professor Sharma? You know, Prime Minister normally doesn't talk about these kind of things we have seen in the last 2 years. Why do you think he was forced to make such strong statements yesterday and day before?
I think Prime Minister has given 3 or 4 messages which he wanted to, so far as I understand. And that is that we will have to differentiate between cow protection and cow vigilantism. Cow protection is a constitutional responsibility. Cow protection is a legal responsibility. Cow protection is a matter of religious faith. Cow protection is a social issue. But in the name of cow protection, if somebody violates the law of the land, then Prime Minister says it is beyond, it is not acceptable. So he wanted this message to go across the country. Another message which he has given by his statement is that he in fact is very eager to implement his theory of Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, and he thinks that such incidents might be acting as a brake on his policy of Sabka Saath and Sabka Vikas. Thirdly, he wanted to reiterate the theory which has been accepted and propagated by both BJP and the RSS. That is Samta, Samrasta, Samanta or Nyay. Ye hamare, these are the ethos, these are part of the ethos of Indian society. And it should become an ethos if it is not anywhere. That is the another message which he wanted to give, and he has given it very clearly. Fourthly, he wanted to give a message that the state governments cannot bypass their responsibility by merely blaming the Prime Minister or by merely blaming the central government for keeping mum or not taking action. He has very rightly said that the state governments should act. It is their responsibility to maintain law and order. If any violation takes place, they should act. And he has given an advice also, prepare a dossier on such elements. Another fact which he has stated is that if you really want to curb this, then those who are taking law into their own hands, like you rightly said, cow vigilantism, 70 to 80% of them are anti-socials. Of them, not all cow protectors, as is being tried to be painted. He is not saying that all cow protectors, 70-80% are anti-social. What he is saying is that those who are taking the law into their own hands, 70 to 80% of them are, of course,
70 to 80% of those who take law into their own hands are anti-social.
Yes.
Okay, we are now joined by Sanjay Paswan. Mr. Paswan, what do you think is the message the Prime Minister was sending, and to whom was it being aimed at?
The message is, we welcome such message from the Prime Minister level. Such a strong statement by the Prime Minister itself manifests how much serious he is about. And he has given message, of course, to those offenders, to those criminals, to those anti-social elements, to those religious fanatics, certainly to mend their ways. Otherwise, government is not going to, spare them. So certainly, we Dalit people are really enthused with such a statement of the Prime Minister. We welcome such move. Although the statement is very much emotional, but certainly it has so many signals to all the offenders who are regularly, infrequently spoiling the image of BJP analysis. So certainly it is a salutary statement of the Prime Minister.
Okay. Professor Thorat? Professor Thorat, do you agree that this is a message which has been, and this differentiation between cow vigilantes and cow Rakshaks, cow protectors, and you think that this message has been sent at the right time?
Well, I think it's a very welcome message in the sense that it helps to build up some confidence among the Dalits particularly, that the government at the highest level doesn't agree with what is going on. And Prime Minister being the head of the government, anything that comes from him in the form of message and policies, I think is important. And in this particular context, I think it is. But my opinion is that the issue of atrocities and untouchability against the Dalit is a larger issue. Occasionally, anti-social element get engaged into the atrocities. There is no doubt about it. But largely speaking, it is a systemic problem. I mean, from 2001 to 2014, there are close to 2 lakhs atrocities. These are not done by the anti-social. These are done by the ordinary people who believe in the caste system. There are examples where the high caste have killed their own daughter. So the untouchability and casteism is a problem of ideology and the social code and norms which the people follow on the name of religion. So unless we recognize that this is a problem of social ideology, it has connection with religion, I think it won't, it will build up a confidence, but it won't make much difference. Let me tell you one thing, that if the present legal system and present system of delivery of social justice with respect to caste and untouchability, with that if we have close to 2 lakh atrocities and crimes against the untouchable during the last 1 year, how this will make a difference? What we need is a drastic change in the legal system, the delivery system of social justice. We need a drastic commitment on the part of the political parties. They have to get into the social justice discourse. That is, they have to take caste and untouchability on their agenda. And I don't see any political party has taken caste and untouchability as a main agenda on their platform. So I think we will have to take several steps if we want to make a difference. And above all, I think educational and economic development of scheduled castes, which will make them independent, will also make a huge difference. The mobility has helped them quite a lot. But with privatization of education and employment, I am not quite sure what will happen.
No, that's a larger issue. We'll keep that aside. Mr. Farooqui, how do you look at this entire episode which has happened in the last week, the reaction of the Prime Minister, and what has happened in the past? This is not the first time that cow vigilantes have indulged in these kind of things.
I know what you mean by that, in fact, but I totally agree with both Mr. Sharma and Mr. Thorat, what he is saying, in fact, that these are larger issues which has to be addressed. And of course, this is not the forum to discuss all those kinds of right now. But yes, as we say in the Persian, der ayat, durust ayat, at least he has opened up his mouth for these kind of gunda elements who are being not only defaming his own government, but creating a hell of a problem across the world, in fact. We are being labeled as the kind of people, in fact, who don't tolerate all these kind of things. Of course, there are people who are talking about it, and there is some concern about that also, that now he has spoken about it, and perhaps in a lot of editorial we have seen it, that this is perhaps the fear of losing the Dalits and others from his political power, in fact. But If at all, he was so concerned about it, why he has not yet opened up his mouth about Khalid, in fact. We have seen about that akhlaq. That akhlaq, he was killed much more mercilessly, in fact. And it has remained unnoticed. And we know it now, that because of those legal complications, now the family itself is getting involved in it. Whether they have committed this crime or not, that's a separate issue. But would we allow the mob to kill the people like this, taking them out? And our Prime Minister remains silent on that. So basically, if he has started opening his mouth, that is very courageous. I appreciate it and I welcome this, because as a Prime Minister, he has been saying that Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, and he is the Prime Minister of an entire population of 125 crores. So I hope that now onward, the message must have gone to the people, in fact, to these kind of elements. Some of them have the very close link with the Sangh Parivar. Some of them are just the offshoot of it. They must understand that ultimately they are creating more hurdles for Mr. Modi. He is working very hard for the developmental agenda. But all these things, in fact, whether I would not like to name, but there are at least 10 names which are very close to BJP, which are in the executive committee, which are in the ministry. They are still being roaming around freely. Unless these two statements have a check on them, I don't think we are going to have.
Okay. Professor Jodhka, you know, the message which is being sent from this, whom do you think it will have the desired effect?
The message is welcome, of course, but I think there are structural problems which, unless they think about those and recognize those issues, it won't go very far. And the structural problem is the question of diversity. I mean, I think we need to, there are 2-3 issues which are connected with cow, and unless we bring them on table, they are not going to, just sentimentally saying that this is wrong or right is not going to solve the problem. So at ideological level as well as at a kind of policy level, unless we bring in the question of diversity, that India is a country of diverse kind of traditions and communities, and cow, beef, all those things could be values of particular kind for one community. Within that community, as we have seen now within Hinduism also, there is a lot of diversity. Unless we bring in the question of diversity and say everybody has the right to their cultural identity and their own notion of sanctity and sacredness, but that doesn't mean that that right has to be imposed on everyone in the same manner. Sikhs don't smoke, and they obviously have right not to smoke, and they have the right to not anyone bring cigarette to their house, but that doesn't mean that they should stop smoking altogether in the country. So there are different communities have their own ritual traditions. I think that is something which we need to again bring into the center and start talking about it. Second question related to cow, which is something I think that has also prompted the Prime Minister to speak about, that cow is very centrally located to India's agrarian economy. And not just agrarian economy, now also some kind of industrial economy. As we have seen in case of Punjab, for example, soap industry is dependent on the fat that is produced through animals' body, and they're not always cows. Similarly, there's a whole industry which is linked to kind of meat production. Now, in agrarian economy, people keep cattle, and cattle is useful, cow is useful, but cow is not just cow. There is also male calf, there's also buffalo, and there's a whole trade around animal, and this is a huge trade, and nobody has talked about it. It's coming out and how it is affecting people who are involved in this trade. The cattle has to travel from Haryana to Andhra Pradesh. Buffalo is popular everywhere. The best buffalo is available in Haryana, Punjab. So people who are actually involved in this kind of business or economy, their incomes are declining. They are actually facing a lot of crisis because the cattle prices have come down. Soap industry is in crisis. Many other things are happening because of this vigilantism.
So you think that the Prime Minister had all these issues also in mind when he made
I'm
this?
sure it must have come to his table through intelligence reports that people who are involved in this trade, they are vigilantism.
They are being affected.
Yeah, it's not only attack on Dalits, it's people who come on the trucks, they get beaten up. There were earlier reports also, if you're carrying cows have to be exported and imported across states. And they are very important resource for people. And this is part of the agrarian commercial economy. And that has become very difficult for people to transport, because the people who ask for money, because they would say that we represent whatever this organization or that organization. And we have seen it on some of the television reports also this being reported.
Have been appearing.
And the third question is that, I think the point that earlier has been made by Mr. Farooqui and Mr. Thorat, that caste question as well as community question, which is related to the point I was making earlier about diversity. So these diversities are very complex, and we need to kind of consider them and bring on board and talk about those things also. The prejudice that is already there, in this kind of situation, that prejudice comes up very profoundly in open.
Yes.
And all these partly criminal
Mr.
elements,
Sharma.
partly proactive elements, they kind of use it and create disturbance in society.
Mr. Sharma, the question now is that, as some of them pointed out, as Mr. Farooqui was pointing out, there was problems earlier. Last year, this man Dadri was killed by a group of vigilantes who thought that, he had kept beef in his house. Whether it's correct or not, we still don't know. Then nothing happened. The Prime Minister didn't speak. Now he is speaking because now, it has led to people saying that it is because of the way the Dalit uprising has happened in Gujarat, and it is affecting the party's votes, that, Prime Minister has been forced to speak. Would you agree with that?
No, in fact, again, I would say that it is not really desirable to stretch on diversity at the cost of unity. Unity and diversity has to go together.
And what do you mean by this?
And no, I mean that so far as diversity is concerned, we have been always talking and emphasizing on inclusive development, inclusive policies. That is because of the diversities. And similarly, so far as rights are concerned, rights are also have certain duties. And until
No,
unless
you will have
there
to
is a
explain what you are
mixture-
trying to say.
Sorry, I'm saying
Please
that
explain what you are trying, in what context are you saying this?
I'm saying in the context of what Professor of
Jodhka.
Sociology is saying, that we must give attention on diversities. Agreed. But apart from diversities, we also should try to generate certain consensus on certain basic issues.
Like what?
And the basic issues are samta, social harmony, justice, equality, and respect for religious faiths.
Indian Constitution is
Who
the
is
basic
denying it?
document.
And
It's sacred
therefore-
Who is
document.
denying it?
No,
Indian
nobody is
Constitution.
denying it, but
Yeah, yeah.
the politics of the country is being pushed into that direction where an effort seems to be, I may be wrong, but effort seems to be made to create some kind of a tension, unrest,
Who's trying to
instability.
create it?
Creating the tension.
Who is
Political
trying to
parties.
create it?
Political
Who-
parties,
no,
I don't want to name any political party.
No, you can name, but it doesn't
but
matter.
the fact of the matter is that you might have seen, and every one of us has seen, that these kind of incidents do take place when there are some elections around, whether it is cow vigilantism, whether it's Dadri, or it is some other incident. I think these could be manipulated political kind of
Sir,
activities.
my question was that the silence of the Prime Minister has been broken. The criticism is that he has broken the silence only when it has happened to Dalits, and the kind of reaction has happened in Gujarat from the Dalit community, because of which he has reacted. When it happened in Dadri or it happened in Latehar, in other places, he did not react.
So I
So,
think-
is there a political angle to this reaction? That is the question.
Girish ji, if you have heard the statement of the Prime Minister, he has given a very clear message also. He says, hold them accountable who are responsible for a certain thing. What was he trying to say? He was trying to say that on every and each aspect, it is not the Prime Minister and the central government who has to act. It is the state government, they must act on this issue.
So, are you trying to say that
and if the
this
state governments are
statement-
not acting,
No, sir,
they are
this-
failing in their duty.
No, this statement. Sir, one second. Are you saying that this statement goes beyond just the Dalits? It also includes what has happened to the Muslims, like
Exactly.
Akhlaq or in Latehar and things
What
like that.
he is
Because
trying to-
yesterday's statement was purely confined to Dalits. He said that don't shoot the Dalits, shoot me.
No, look at the statement in the beginning, on the first day. He did not refer to any community.
Correct. Second day he referred.
Second day he referred because he thought that there's something, I may be wrong, but as I understand, that he might have thought that something undesirable, illegal has been done,
So, are you trying
which
to
is
say?
unpardonable.
Are you trying to
which
say that there is no
unpardonable.
political intention behind this statement?
I don't think that we must assign anything to politics.
Okay.
Yeah,
Mr. Farooqui,
I
I'll
agree.
come to you, sir.
I agree with Mr. Sharma. You should not try to bring the politics into it. But my concern was What Mr. Professor Jodhka has said, in fact, that's a very crucial point, in fact, which has not been appreciated by Mr. Sharma, in fact. What he's talking about, we have heard the newspaper report and other media, in fact, covering this, that it has become very difficult for the people to transport the milking cow from one place to other, and even the bull cart, all the other things taking over there. And the people, yesterday only...
It's affecting the agrarian economy.
Yesterday only we heard that the two driver and the cleaner, they have to jump
in the river.
So these are the things, in fact, which are very, very disturbing.
Okay, Professor Thorat.
That is what he is speaking against.
No, Professor Thorat, if there is no political intention behind these statements, you think that these statements will have the desired effect on the people whom it is aimed at? Whom do you think it is aimed at first, and do you think it will have the desired effect?
No, I have only said earlier also that a statement coming from the head of the government, Prime Minister, will certainly have a confidence building among the Dalits who have been attacked in Gujarat. And there is a message from him to some organization also, anti-social element, as well as to the state. But the point that I am making is this, that atrocities on Dalit, as worse as that of Gujarat, have happened in the past. We know Khairlanvi in Maharashtra, more than 1 lakh people marched to Bombay and entered into the State Assembly. So this is similar incidences have happened. A burning of the houses, parading Dalit girls, women naked. My issue, therefore my problem is that it is a lot more a fundamental issue. If you have atrocity despite law and despite policies, then what you need is to change the policies, to change the political discourse in favor of anti-caste and in favor of anti-untouchability, and that I don't see happening unless there is a revision and there is a reform in the policy and taking and review of the entire measure, that what has not worked and what will work. Then till that time I don't think I don't see any hope of any positive change coming up.
Okay.
There is a need for change in the reform the law. There is a need for improving the institutions, engage in the delivery of social justice. There is a need for political parties to take a position on the issue of caste and untouchability and atrocities, recognize the roots of this into the Hindu caste system, and also the program of economic and educational development of Dalit.
Okay.
So unless
Professor
we
Jodhka?
address that, you must understand that the problem of Dalit is a structural issue.
Absolutely, sir.
It is economic, it is social, and it is educational, and it is deeply rooted in the caste. So one has to address that.
Okay.
And the issue of caste and untouchability is put onto the back burner.
Okay.
Yeah, just 2 points. One is, I think, what...
Sir, one second. Sir, Professor Thorat, one very short question, and I want a short answer from you. So you think that this statement doesn't have any political intention? Professor Thorat.
Yeah, you mean the political intention?
Yes.
No, this statement, no, I think I personally don't see that there is a politics in it. You know, even for Prime Minister, it was a very emotional issue. It's an emotional issue for everybody, and therefore everybody has reacted.
Okay.
In Gujarat, cutting across the political party and caste, subcaste, and even higher caste have joined. The way the incidents took place, it aroused the feeling and emotion of everybody.
Okay.
I don't think it has brought a change in politics in Gujarat. That's a different story. But I think it is essentially a social issue. It is issue of arousing of the emotions of the people.
Okay. Okay, sir.
Yeah. Just I think it's very good that Professor Sharma brought the question of diversity to the center table on this discussion. I think the question of diversity has nothing to do with the question of unity. To recognize cultural diversity does not mean that this is a threat to India as a country. I don't think that is an issue at all. Within India, there are diversities of various kinds. Dalits don't have any other place to go to. Caste diversities are very, very significant. Regional diversities are very, very significant. And it becomes particularly clear on the question of cow. Different communities have had different relationship with the question of cow and food. Cow as meat or cattle as meat. There are regions where cattle meat is eaten, even beef is eaten in India as a normal practice. In
even
Kerala,
cow is eaten in India?
Yeah, even cow is eaten in India as a normal practice regionally. But within those regions where cow is seen as sacred, lower caste historically, Dalits have historically been eating meat. So the relationship of different communities to food is very different. So there the question of diversity has nothing to do with political unity of India. Political unity would only strengthen if we recognize diversities, because people want to be Indian in many different ways. One more point, slightly different point from what Professor Thorat is saying. I think the question of cow and cow vigilantism is not confined only to the caste question, and I think we should bring that also on table. Caste is very important aspect of it, but the question of cow, as we have seen in last 2 years, is much bigger than just the question of caste. Caste is very, very important.
It has assumed a political dimension.
It has assumed a political dimension, and I think the Prime Minister is speaking because there is a pressure from obviously Dalit MPs within the party and Dalit lobbies within BJP, and there is sense that it is alienating them. And Dalit MPs have been speaking out, and you can see their faces. They feel completely lost and kind of marginalized, not only within the party but also within their own community. They can't go back and speak.
Mr. Sharma, see, as far as the Sangh Parivar is concerned, from where you come from, cow protection has been a very major issue on the agenda for several decades, in fact. Why do you think things have just gone out of hand now? That, the Prime Minister had to come out and make a statement like this, a Prime Minister who belongs to the BJP, as a member of the Sangh Parivar himself, that, he has to come out and make a statement like this, and the kind of reactions which are coming now from within the Sangh Parivar. The Vishwa Hindu Parishad is very angry with what he has said. Hindu Mahasabha is not at all happy with what he has said. Why has this taken such a shape?
Well, I have to say only one thing in this respect. As you have rightly said, that Sangh Parivar has been taking this up as an agenda for quite a long time. It is not merely the agenda of the Sangh Parivar, it is the agenda of the Constitution also. And those who want to uphold the Constitution, they must also take up that issue of cow protection. But as I said, that Sangh Parivar has never said, that the propaganda or the agenda for cow protection should go to the extent of cow vigilantism, as you said. And that is why perhaps Sangh also has issued a statement that cow vigilantism...
Sangh has issued a statement, BJP is issued... One second, sir, let him finish. Yes, sir.
And therefore, Sangh has also given a kind of a support to what the Prime Minister has said. It must end every speculation over Sangh Parivar.
Why is the Vishwa Hindu Parishad seems to be not on the same page?
Everyone has a right to dissent. Everyone has a right to dissent.
Vishwa Hindu Parishad is very much part of the
even
Sangh
in a
Parivar.
family, I think even in a family of 10 people, there could be some differences, but that does not mean... No, true. But when the family... when the family had said something final, then it has to be
So
accepted.
his point that there should be diversity even within the family.
Should not be it should not be stretched up to the length of divisiveness.
Of course not.
That
you are hoping that there won't be divisiveness because of the stand taken by the Vishwa Hindu Parishad.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying diversity.
Are you worried with the stand taken by some of the elements within the Sangh Parivar?
No, there's no
on the
other
statement
element.
of the
There's no
Prime
element
Minister?
which has taken a different stand.
VHP has taken, Hindu Mahasabha has taken.
No, Hindu Mahasabha is not a part of
it. VHP is a very important part of your
VHP has a right to say it. It's a very small
question. Very small question. I respectfully disagree with Sharma Sahab, because I have yet to hear one single word on akhlaq by Sangh Parivar. Correct me if I am wrong.
Professor Sharma, would you like to react to that?
No, I will just say that let us wait for the law to take its own course. In a class case, there are two kind of theories.
There is a law which is taking course even in
that's
Muna.
what I'm saying.
That's what I'm saying. Case also
in a class
law is
family,
taking its course.
There's an FIR against the family itself.
Sir, I'm not on technical ground. I'm not on legal ground. I'm saying how the whole mob lynched those family.
It should not have taken place.
Bas, that's it.
Yes.
That's the question.
Okay,
we have not heard any
and the Home Minister did make a statement on this.
Okay, sir. I think on that note, we completely run out of time. But the fact is that this is an emotional, political, this is an issue which is social. It has several dimensions to it. And the Prime Minister has spoken, and how it will be interpreted and how the message will reach the people whom it is aimed at. We'll have to wait and watch. Thanks to all my guests. Please keep watching. We'll come back with another issue in the big picture same time tomorrow.